Ladies and gentlemen,
And we're back with the drop up. No specific day, but now it's on a Tuesday. Everyone's camera's working finally. What's up, all 0 people out there watching? Happy to be here. Let's start it like we always started. I got some like fun little soundboards lined up.
Oh boy,
I'm ready to go. Weekend time. We're gonna talk about the draft. But what else went on this weekend? Johnny, go. Johnny, go.
This weekend, no, it didn't really do too much. It was a nice, chill, relaxed weekend for me. So that was a good thing. Nothing really crazy. Just kind of watched the rest of the draft and everything like that. Watched some of the fights Saturday night. That ended pretty brutally for one fella there, Dominic Reyes. Got caught with this crazy spinning elbow, kind of just outright like lights out type stuff.
Really?
So that was cool. But other than that, no, it didn't really do too much. Just getting ready to get my second vaccine next week, so that's fun. And then other than that, just pretty much chilled. Really did nothing. Kind of a little under the weather, feel like it, but other than that, I'm good.
Is that, you think it's because of your first vaccine, or?
Nah, that was last week. I think I'm just tired, and I didn't really sleep that well last night.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Matty Ice with the puns.
Well, like I mentioned last week, I don't get weekends. So kind of watching the weather for tomorrow. Hopeful for golf, but it's not looking so great right now. So it might be a day to kind of chill out inside, catch up on some movies and some series I've been kind of slacking on with work lately.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. What did I do all weekend? I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, and local brewery came out with a Knight Rider beer, and I thought that was kind of cool since I just built one of those cars. So I went and got some of it. It's like a 7.9% IPA. Oh, wow. Very hoppy. Pretty good. Pretty delicious. I tried to get him to hire me for free. I told him, let me park the car in front. I'll keep the light on. Just give me a couple beers, and I got no response.
Give me some beer, and I'm good.
That's it. But I didn't get a response. So, well, it is what it is. But it was cool. They got cool little labels with the car on it, stuff like that. And, it's nice. Yeah. I'm not a big IPA guy, but it wasn't bad. I'll be honest with you. Pretty good.
John Kimball.
So I got the old Arnold going over here. Got some Arnold. Nice. Some Rick Sanchez I'll pepper in.
Morty.
Oh, there it is.
I'm a genius. I build robots for fun.
So what's everyone sipping on? I got my Jameson Caskmates.
Oh, there you go.
With some water and a little splash of something.
Can't beat that, right?
No, I mean, it's delicious.
Got gin and tonic, a little splash of lemonade.
Okay.
Straight water, homie.
Oh, water, huh? That's fun. So, well, let's get into it then. I know we thought about going live on Thursday. Was it Thursday? The first night of the draft.
That's
and you guys were like dropping bombs. Like it was real funny, and I know you guys are into it. So why don't you I was thinking like who do you think had the best draft? I think that's one question I think I'd like to hear you guys answer. Like who had the best draft this year and who made the best decisions for the next couple of years going forward? What do you think? Who wants to start?
I'll start with the best decisions going forward. I think Chicago killed it trading up and getting Justin Fields. The one thing Chicago has always lacked since, 2 years of Jim McMahon is an actual quarterback. Cutler showed some promise for a couple of years, but he started tailing off. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. You get a wide receiver like Allen Robinson on the outside. All he needs is someone to throw him the ball. He doesn't have that. No. You can look at, even a second-year play. You got Cole Kmet sitting there at tight end. I think he's going to have a huge year this year. So I think they probably had the best decision in the first round of trading up to make sure they got the guy they needed.
Interesting. What do you think, Johnny?
I'm going to stick with the same kind of a prospect there, but I'm going to take the one who actually traded with the Chicago, your New York Football Giants, who were able to move back, pick up a first rounder and a third rounder for next year, So that means next year they got 2 first-round picks. They moved back a couple times later, picked up another third-rounder for next year. And some of the draft selections they were happy with. The first one, I mean, he's explosive. Daniel Jones needs somebody to throw to. And then we got value at the other picks. They're saying, the second-round pick, you could have got him. There's a fight that he could have been gone in the first round. So it's pretty good there. And happy with everything there. No offensive lineman selected, which is kind of a bummer because Daniel Jones was sacked 45 times last year. So that's a bit of a problem. But yeah, he's got another person to throw the ball to. And hopefully got moved in a couple cornerbacks on defense here and get ready to get after it. So I think if you look on ESPN and everything like that, it's widely the Giants that are being celebrated for dominating that draft, mainly because of their coach, Joe Judge.
Really? Because you seemed real upset about it on Thursday.
Well, I was at first because I know but then as you listen to the decision, basically what happened was the scumbag Eagles and Cowboys, the Giants had a specific wide receiver they wanted in mind, the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith, and they kind of leaked that a little too early so other teams knew. So for some reason that's unexplainable to me, it sounds like the Cowboys out there might be a little worried about them Giants there because they did not want him to get Devontae Smith, so they moved it around. The Bears. Cowboys moved up to. I'm sorry, Eagles moved up to 9. Cowboys switched back, and the Eagles took the guy we wanted, but they were able to get kind of an explosive player. 8 picks later, and again, you see where it goes forward there. But I didn't understand it at the time. But the value of all the picks that we got going forward, and Devontae Smith, some people are saying could be a big bust because he's very undersized. He's only about 170 pounds. So in the NFL, that's kind of this, but he did win the Heisman. So it's going to be interesting. I was happy with it. As they explained the entirety of the draft, they explained their picks. So I thought they did real well. And then Matt mentioned Justin Fields. That was real good. And then this guy was over the moon. He got old Mac Jones there to replace old Tommy Boy, because Cam Newton spikes it into the ground about 9 yards.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. I think I was listening to another podcast, Bill Simmons, and they were saying on there that basically like the top 15 to 16 picks here was like a legendary draft with everything moving around, all surprises, quarterbacks falling or being picked. Trey Lance got picked 3rd, which was weird. Nobody really thought he was going to go. South Dakota State University, but 49ers pick him. They already got Jimmy G, so that's going to be interesting out there. Old babyface Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall. He's going to get used to some losing. He's a guy here, Nick, that's never lost a game in high school, a regular season game in high school or college. So 7 years.
He's on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, so that's going to be – he's going to get, a rude awakening there.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to handle it mentally. Like if you get on a team like that where they're going to go at best 8-8, maybe. Like is his hubris going to be able to handle the fact that he's losing on the biggest stage and realize that he really ain't that good?
Well, that's what happened.
I mean, he is that good, but
that might not be a lot with these guys. Like you could see it, in the first 3 picks there. I mean, Zach Wilson went second to the Jets. And that's the second time they pick a quarterback in 3 years. This was number 2 pick. Before that was Sam Darnold at number 3, and he was just getting crushed. So you go to a dumpster fire of a team. Like I don't really know if that's really where if that makes a huge difference. Like that's the thing. If Sam Darnold was on the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes was on the Jets, old Patty boy ain't getting that trophy, Nick. It ain't happening.
Well, it's the Jets, bro. Like
yeah. That's kind of and that's why the draft is so fascinating to me. Because, it does depend where you go. And it's kind of like, if you see the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner, the scheming behind it and trying to scumbag the other teams and whatnot, it's pretty good. And, I'm a big fan of college football too, so I know mainly all the guys and how good they are. And again, you see people fall, and it's kind of like, their dreams are just going like this.
And that's where it's interesting. With all the COVID stuff, you've got the truncated off seasons, you've got limited practices. I think it's interesting to see that GMs were kind of accounting for that. And you're pairing Trevor Lawrence with Etienne. You're pairing, Tua with guys that he's thrown to before. You get that built-in familiarity. And all of a sudden, doing Zoom meetings doesn't take as much away as it normally would.
Right. I agree with that. And again, so in college last year, Nick, a lot of the players were allowed to opt out because of COVID.
Right.
So some of these top draft picks didn't play last year. So you're depending on them from their film the year before. But also, I mean, that means they also had an entire year to get ready for the draft and didn't actually, play, say, live football, in front of, on the gridiron. But some people's seasons were canceled. The Big Ten did a shortened season. So it's like you really don't know. So, sometimes it helps. But also you see as you go into the NFL, and it happened in the NFL last year, because there weren't really that many practices, guys' bodies weren't ready. You saw a record number of injuries. Saquon Barkley tore his entire leg the second week of the season. Odell Beckham Jr. went down. All these guys, with these injuries because they're not really ready, game shape-wise, which, I mean, that's why, historically, since they took it away, like doubles and that off-season conditioning, but then also just, the 2 to 3 weeks of practice to actually get ready to hit live and cut live and do all that stuff. If you're not doing it full speed, if you're just doing it full speed against the wind and nobody's there, but it's like you have to make decisions. A person's coming to hit you, tackle you, so that there's these weird cuts, and really they weren't really going full speed in the offseason last year, or basically weren't even really there. They were Zoom meeting. I mean, hell, there's the one story of Gronk that I think I told this one on here before. But so they were doing their own. The Buccaneers were doing their own off-season conditioning, so they trusted everybody to do it. So he had X amount of sprints to do per week. So what he did is he took his he had his trainer bring his cell phone to the field, like a high school field or a park, and he would do some sprints, and then he would change his shirt and do like a couple more, change his shirt, do like a couple more, and then wouldn't train the rest of the week and would just send the different videos in.
I mean, it's kind of smart, but at the same time,
Right.
I mean, it could have went south, but luckily he was able to win a Super Bowl, I guess. So.
Yeah, and he did get a Super Bowl. He did score twice. But then, then there's also stuff like that. So you get these draft picks. Again, is why the draft's so fascinating, because you years ago, probably was it 2003? I think 2004. No, it wasn't 2004. It was after that. So Jamarcus Russell, widely considered one of the biggest busts in NFL history out of LSU. So he was drafted number 1 overall by the Raiders because Al Davis, who was alive at the time, saw him throw the ball 60 yards from one knee, right? So, boom, he's just getting drafted, right? So then he goes in, he's the number 1 draft pick. You got to be starting, so he goes in. So he doesn't train. He just blows up. He gets almost like 350 pounds as a quarterback.
Shit.
Right? And then that's year 2, though. But at first, he wasn't really picking up the offense. And they were sending him home with, at the time, DVDs to watch, the play court and stuff like that. So he kept saying that he was watching them. So the offensive coordinator was like, oh, that's weird. So he sent him home with a blank one time. And then the next day, Jamarcus Russell came in and just talked all about the offense and, how great it looked and everything like that. And they were just like, yeah, guy was blank.
What's up with them being lazy? I mean, they worked so hard for so many years, and then they get their signing bonus, and now they're just lazy. Like, is that what they're doing?
I mean, it could
Or they
be.
just think they're better. They're so good they don't need to put the work.
Well, that's
in or?
I think it can be a mix of both. It's the first time a lot of these guys have actually seen money.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, a lot of these guys are coming from big schools. They're big man on campus, so they get that inflated ego.
Mm-hmm.
You get into the league, and all of a sudden you got 52 other guys that are just as good as you in the locker room.
Or better, most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in that, a lot of stuff like that. Like there's a classic story of, say, like Larry Johnson when he was on the Chiefs, right? He, because I follow John Welborn a lot. He played offensive guard for the Eagles and the Chiefs forever. And he runs this thing called Power Athlete. It's a Power Athlete podcast. Shout out Power Athlete. But he's telling a story about how he was, Larry Johnson, he was blocking for him and had one of the, this historic season, 2,000 yards and all this stuff. But he said he told the owner and upper management, they're like, we know this guy. Do not give him a contract that's going to, guaranteed money and just have it, all guaranteed. And, he's going to make all this money. He's like, because the effort would be gone. And they decided to do it. And then basically you never heard of Larry Johnson again, And that's,
I bought his jersey on sale when they kicked him off the team. Got it for like $12.
yeah. Cause I mean, And that's the thing with the NFL. They do have a lot of guaranteed money signed into their contract. So, that's already gone. They have signing bonus and guaranteed money partially. So no matter what, you have to give him at least that portion of his contract,
Right.
That's where it gets kind of crazy in the NFL. I mean, they can cancel your contract at any time, but you still have to get your guaranteed money, which is obviously millions and millions of dollars anyway. I mean, the minimum, in the NFL, the minimum salary for a guy that just is like on the scout team is $850,000. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, you give this guy 60 million and, he's not really running, taking the ball and hitting the hole that hard anymore,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that I'm lazy like that, but I'll be honest with you. If I had to do this much, like if there was just this little thing I had to cross to get like a guaranteed 60 million, I would fuck off once I got it. Like, whatever, fire me. I don't care. I'm good for the rest of my life. I don't have to get hit by a 400-pound lineman anymore.
Yeah, right. And I think that's the mindset across a lot of stuff. I mean, you can really
like you made it, bro.
Right. If we want to go, to the left here a little bit, you got. Say you can put that in an instance in mixed martial arts with Conor McGregor. He got his 2 titles. He was, the double champ, the first person to ever do it. And then, he was making good money in the UFC, but nothing, I mean, obviously life-changing, but it was like, 10 million, something like that. And then, he fights Floyd and makes 100. So then he came back, to the UFC and he's lost 3 straight. He's 1-3. So it's like,
didn't you just sell Proper 12 for like $500 million or something wild like that? It's like, so why?
And he has another fight.
He just fights because he like wants to hit somebody, but
because even his trainer is like, man, he's like, because they're doing that trilogy with Dustin Poirier, and the trainer was like, listen, man, if you're not really coming in here and doing this, I don't want to train you. Because he's been his trainer his whole time. He's like, I know you if you're off and you're lazy. I mean, hell, you're hitting old men in the bar and fucking.
Yeah, didn't he buy the bar too?
Yeah, he just bought the bar.
He bought the bar and he banned the guy.
What a cocksucker.
You're right. Like, what the
fuck? I think that's kind of funny, but it's also like, yo, you're such a dickhead.
That's such a dick move.
Guy's like 60 years old.
Yeah. And all because you didn't want, and again, Proper 12 tastes like absolute asshole.
Yeah.
So the guy was just like, no, I don't, because Conor wanted everybody to try it in the bar, and the guy was just like, no, I don't want that. Just punched him right in the face. So it's like, he got all his Floyd money and he just went off the rails, wasn't training, wasn't doing any of this. He's just like, he's the man now. And that's the mindset a lot of these guys get in the NFL. It's just unfortunate, but that's the way it goes there. But some other guys, this is where it gets, in the later rounds. Cause now, starting a couple of years ago, it's the goddamn 3 days. So it used to be just on Saturday.
Right.
That was one of the best days ever. It started at noon and you went all the way up, and then you got the end of it, on Sunday. But, it started right at noon and you can go, there was parties thrown everywhere, but it's like, dude, it's a Thursday night. Now it's like, and it's only the first round. So your fucking thing's going like this.
So Thursday night every team gets their first pick.
If they have one, yeah.
Unless you're the Houston Texans.
Well, either way, there's 32 picks.
Yes, 32 picks.
That's all there is. All right. Yeah, I feel like the Saturday is a better play because it's like you can make it all day event. Like, when you guys were texting me on Thursday, you're like, "Oh, this is till midnight." I'm like, "Well, it's only fucking 7 o'clock. I got to sit here for another 5 hours."
That's the thing, man.
You're losing that prime time money now.
Yeah, and that's, and then it's on Friday it's the same kind of thing, but at least it's a Friday night, and people have it on. But then again, who's going to sit there on a Friday night and watch it? Really, Like, you can always go to Burr's classic line. He's like, they tell you who got drafted at the end of the thing. Why you assholes sitting there for 12 hours?
Yeah, I mean, I can get the excitement of it if you're really invested in, like you guys are. You guys are big fans, and you watch college, and like, so you see these guys come up. You see if they skip, like, the whole, I don't even know what it really means, but like a true freshman or like whatever.
Right.
So you see these guys like accelerate through school and through your big teams. And then you see them get drafted and hoping they're going to be on your team if they're good enough and if it fits your packages or whatever. I see the excitement of it. Like, I mean, I'm just not into it. It's just not my.
No, yeah, that's fine.
But I get it, and it's just weird that like everyone knows the NFL is trying to like, it's like stretching the dough too thin on a pizza. Like, make the fucking pizza on Saturday, bro. Everyone,
yeah, exactly. There you go.
started at fucking 9 a.m. Western, which is probably what they do. If it's
that's where we're doing.
And do it for 12 hours straight. do the first 2 rounds, finish off the last couple rounds the next day. Like, who cares about? No one even watches Thursday Night Football. Like,
that's what I'm saying. They just made this. I don't know where they got their analytics for this, because it's just like, oh man, 3 days. Like, even I got fucking sick of it by the end of it. Like, I'm not watching this anymore. I'm watching a Giants pick, and that's it.
The most entertaining part of it was that you guys were like going back and forth and fantasy football to a degree where you're like, no, I think this guy's gonna go here for this reason, and that, like, I was interested in that. I'm like, oh, like it is fun when you're like, oh, it's for this reason he should go to this team, and for this reason that guy should go to this team. But you know, it's kind of like what you said earlier. Like, the thing that got me so fired up so far in this show is when you said, like, oh, maybe the Giants released that info too early on that quarterback. And I'm thinking in my head, the way I think, being like all three of us are like chess players and analytical thinkers, I'm like, oh, they definitely released that info on purpose.
Well, there's lots of that too. It's like you said, it's a chess game. There's a lot of people saying, oh, I'm open for business, when they aren't really, you know, oh, I'm looking at this player just because they want this other team to jump up. You know, it's a lot of, you know, conjecture.
And then also, you know, that huge story of the day, which he dominated the day, a lot of people were pissed about, dominated the draft, was Aaron Rodgers saying he's not going back. Waited till draft day to say it. So now you got teams calling the Packers, you know, looking for deals, and he's getting out of there, you know, again, because like they haven't selected a first-round offensive player his entire career.
Really?
Yeah, that's why he's
until last year.
No backup quarterback,
his replacement.
Yeah. So he's getting pissed, man. And he still made it to the NFC title game. You know, he's an NFL MVP. But it's just like, dude, can I get some help?
He's 27-5 the last 2 years in the regular season.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm glad I'm not a Packers fan. That pissed me off.
That's like a fuck you, right?
Yeah.
So finally, he was just like, dude, he's like, let me out of here. And also, I mean, it's a big thing now. He was a huge hit on Jeopardy, I guess. Which, I mean, so you're not really gonna be the host of Jeopardy. I mean, I hope he understands that. You know, it was like, but you know, that's the thing, is like, or is it just that, you know, he's a West Coast dude. He's always wanted to live out there. I'm guessing he's, you know, because he was talking to Denver, he was talking to the 49ers, all this stuff. And my guess is, he's got a movie star girlfriend out there now. It's like, I think him and Danica Patrick broke up. So he's got this new movie star girlfriend, right? And she's living in LA, obviously. I think the dude, like I said, the dude's from California. I think he's just sick of living in fucking Wisconsin.
I think that's what it comes down to, is she doesn't want to live in Green Bay.
Right. Like, who?
Well, you know what? It's kind of like a perfect storm, because that is valid. Like, if you're with someone, you want to be with them, and they're doing their thing out here and they don't want to be over here, and then the place you're at where you already have some contention with your wife or girlfriend, and then the team's not, like, they're completely disrespecting him.
Yeah.
Like I would say, fuck them too. Like, why would you be loyal to them if they haven't gotten you a fucking lineman in 10 years? Like,
right. Like,
fuck them. Go to somewhere that gives a shit. Go to Seattle. Go to I don't know.
it was like last year.
Go to someone that's got like a good O-line.
Yeah.
And like Brady did, he went to Tampa, was stacked, and he's like, I'm gonna pick a team.
I'm going there.
He pulled a LeBron. Like, he's like, oh, this team's stacked. I'm gonna go there.
And that's where
do the same fucking thing.
That's where A-Rod is kind of screwed now, though, because he's still under contract. Right. So they have his rights. Brady wasn't.
Yeah.
It's like they'd have to get, and that's the thing. He's turning 30. I mean, he said he wants the same thing like Brady. He said he wants to play for a while. He's turning 37. Or turning 38 in like August or something. But it's like he just had one of the most historic years of all time, got to the NFC title game, was the NFL MVP. It's like,
and that's the problem. You know, he played so well between that and the contract he's got. It's going to be so hard to move him. You know, Green Bay trades him. They've got $38 million in dead cap space.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Meaning you've got a certain amount of money you can spend on contracts.
I understand.
So if they trade Aaron Rodgers, you don't get that money back. So now $38 million of that salary cap is dead.
Like, you can't use it anymore.
You can't spend it because it's already owed to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it's like they need, like, the same thing kind of happened with the Giants for some fucking reason. I never understood this. Is they signed Odell Beckham Jr. before they traded him. So it was like, what the fuck is that, man? Like, you got all this now, you got dead cap space, and that's what screwed us over until like this year, essentially. You know, like they signed him to like a $93 million contract and then traded him.
And so the team that signs him the contract has to pay the contract, not the team that picked him
No,
up.
it depends. Like the signing bonuses, it's really nuanced like that. But it's once you lock in a player for the, basically how the contract works, the signing bonuses, injury guarantees, all that stuff, that stays. You can't get rid of that.
Okay.
Terrible.
The old Bobby Bonilla.
Yo, they're still paying him.
Yeah.
I love
Still
it.
paying him. I love it. And that's
14 more years.
And that's what another like strategy do it too. They got to be like, because in this, what's different now is now depending on where you're picked and your position, your salary is already like set. It's not like your manager or agent can come in and negotiate, this. And the last one that happened to, I think, was Cam. You can hold out, but like you got to sign for your signing bonuses can be discussed, but it's like, you're not going to get a $200 million contract because it just kept going up, up and up,
Right.
Yeah. And that's where the interesting part of, the future of contracts come out. You got, Kirk Cousins 3 years ago gets his entire contract guaranteed. And now I think we're getting into it where you're going to sign a contract where you get a certain percentage of the salary cap every single year. So the cap typically goes up about 5% every year. Obviously, it went down this year because of all the lost revenue. So that's why you've got guys like Aaron Rodgers now. When he signed his contract, he was the highest paid player in the league.
Yeah.
Now he's not anymore.
Oh, he's like 6 now.
Right.
Because that's the thing. It's like, all right, he sees this value of what, he signed it, and then Jared Goff signed one.
Right.
And now just recently Dak Prescott signed one.
Oh, God.
Yes.
That's the best day in New York Giants football in years.
He wanted to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, and everybody was like, dude, you've never won a playoff game, bro. What are you talking about?
And now you see how it worked for Ezekiel Elliott. It looks like he cashed out the entire thing and rolls the quarters, stuffed it in his pockets, and now he's trying to run with it.
That's the thing. That's that's a kind of the Larry Allen situation. Like, Zeke, sat out until he got his big contract. And, to a certain extent, the game has changed so much where, like, you don't see running backs generally drafted high anymore. You can get a good running back there, but Zeke was drafted high. And then, he wanted to, and that's the other thing. He was still under contract. He was sitting out for them to renegotiate his contract. Same thing with Dak, like he already has a contract. And
Dak did. He was on franchise.
Franchise, right? Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, Matt said, like, same thing with Ezekiel. They ended up paying him that huge money, and he's done complete dog shit since then. So
all right. I think I have a good question. Who do you think is the most? Give me the top 3 most dangerous teams this year based on the draft, and the whole league. Like, who do you guys think are like, even if they're not in your divisions or whatever, like, just who do you think is like, oh shit, they had it, they did it?
I think Baltimore's up there.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, they were a good team to begin with.
Yeah, always.
Their big things was they didn't have any wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
You're signing Des Bryant off the street, you've got problems.
Yeah, you got issues there.
Right. They typically go towards defense, so it's nice to see them going out and trying to, improve because, Lamar Jackson's a dynamite runner.
Yeah.
He's got to improve on the pocket passing. Having a reliable receiver is really the only way he can do that. Plus, they just traded away, one of their phenomenal tackles to your team.
Yeah.
So,
it's going to be, yeah, I mean, and they were in the playoffs last year too.
Right.
I mean, they're definitely a team that's, kind of going, up. And I mean, obviously you got to say the Bucks because they re-signed all their players from last year. Like they didn't lose anybody.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's tough.
They
just got better, know? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good teams that are going, that made some shrewd moves. Unfortunately, I'd have to say the Cowboys too, actually, because on paper they're really good. They should be good. Dak was out last year with that injury, but before that they were balling out pretty well.
Yeah. Their defense sucked.
So they ended up, well, Sean Lee retired, and then I guess they're not picking up the contract on what's his name, the Wolf Hunter there.
Yeah, Van Der Esch.
Yeah, they're not picking up his contract, so they drafted Micah Parsons, one of the best, if not the best linebacker in the draft out of Ohio State, or I'm sorry, Penn State. That guy was fucking amazing. So it's like, ooh, god damn.
Linebacker University.
Yeah, so their defense gets it together. They're going to be scary because their offense, is off the chain. Unfortunately,
It's all going to come down to Dak. If he comes back healthy.
And you guys said on Thursday you mentioned that the Steelers drafted someone that was a Quintus.
He's a prototype Steeler.
Well, who is it? Tell me more.
He's Najee Harris, running back from Alabama. National champion.
Oh, running back, huh? Is he like a tank like Jerome Bettis?
No. He's kind of. I struggle to find a real comparative for him, but no, he's not a bust. He's not Derrick Henry who's just going to roll you over. He's extremely athletic, very agile, can catch the ball a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good weapon in the NFL right now,
Yeah.
And
he's 3 down back.
They're going, at least I've noticed, maybe I'm wrong, but it's like they're kind of getting away from that. The running back just goes through and like hurts himself basically. Now they're trying to find people that are multidimensional where they can catch passes and they can run routes.
Literally outside of Derrick Henry, that's kind of what they are doing. And a lot of teams are using like multiple back sets,
Yeah. Wildcat. Is that what they call it? The Wildcat fun.
No, that's a little different. But the problem with the Steelers is you could have thrown Emmitt Smith back there. He wasn't going to do shit with that offensive line.
No.
Oh, wow.
And that's the thing. And they started out 11-0, man. I mean, it was pretty wild. And then just got the shit beat out of them the next couple games. And I mean,
did the Chiefs have a good draft? I don't know.
Well, I mean, they turned basically their first round pick into the tackle from Baltimore. It's interesting. 3 weeks ago they had no offensive line whatsoever, and now they've got a pretty solid group.
Yeah, they got like 3 or 4 guys now.
Yeah,
and that's what happened in the Super Bowl. You started
trying to tell you.
2 backup left tackles, dude, and it was just like this ain't gonna work against this pass rush,
Yeah.
So they address needs, which is what a lot of people do. See, there's 2 kind of theories, especially in the first round, depending on who's drafted in front of you. And I mean, as it goes through the rest of the draft too, I guess it's more like, if this guy was picked, you have like a lot of teams have their, they're in their war room and they have their board of these are the people they want and they rank them at this. So some people look at the holes in their game. Say Kansas City, they had a hole at offensive line. So they look for people like that, but if somebody, they don't like the pressure or to like to press it. So if like it's there, say they have two offensive line that they ranked pretty high, but they both get taken. They're not just going to drop down to take their third best guy, so they go by, okay, like some people look at it and go, all right, who's the best player period right now left, and they go like that. And what you do with the Giants did, they know that, they looked around, they didn't like the guy. They figured they could get more picks and move back and still get quality. And because their player that they wanted wasn't there. So they were just going to force it,
Right.
So that's and it's weird. Some people do, they just go, all right, best available, it's just like for a couple of years, it was like the Detroit Lions drafted a wide receiver, like number 2 or number 3 every single year in the first round. Like they all didn't do anything except for Megatron. So it's like
the last time I played fantasy football, that's what I'd be like, oh, best available, and I wound up with like 5 running backs.
Yeah, and that's what some people do. Some teams, it's just like, again, that's like, and then you can go with the crazy ass people like Al Davis when he was alive. Like he would just be like, well, this guy's a freak, we're taking him. It's like, well, dude, you don't need him. Or Jerry Jones for a while there until his son really took it over, Stephen Jones, even though Jerry still does, but Stephen Jones runs more like the drafted stuff. Like, there was rumors, Jerry Jones said at one point he wanted to draft Johnny Manziel number 1 overall. And his son was like, yeah, we ain't doing that.
Well, that was a good decision, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, hey, Dad, you're a little, senile. Let's not draft Johnny Manziel, huh?
He went to the Browns where good players go to die.
Well, that's the thing. He went there and then he was out of the league, but then the Browns got the number 1 pick and picked up Baker. which nobody saw coming really. There was a lot of people saying Baker Mayfield shouldn't even went in the first round, let alone the number 1 overall pick. So it's just weird like that, how some teams just go and, because again, and that's the same year Saquon Barkley went number 2. Now that's a running back. And he had, he broke almost every single rookie record his rookie year. And he's played like 7 games since then. So, yeah.
It's always a toss up. I mean, proof is in Matt's boyfriend, Tom Brady. What he going, like the 5th round or some bullshit?
6.
6? Oh, I was close.
199.
Yeah. And, but again, and that look what it took for him. It took, Drew Bledsoe to get injured for him to even get on the field.
Yeah.
Bledsoe never takes that hit. Tom Brady might not get on the field ever.
And you realize, New England passed him over 5 times.
Right. Yeah. So it's like there was like 7 quarterbacks taken before him. So it's just like they finally drafted him. But again, the page, and again, they did win the Super Bowl in those early years, but it wasn't really because of Tom Brady. It was because of, he was more of a game manager with great defense. They didn't really start putting it on until like the 2007 season when they brought in Randy Moss and Corey Dillon and all those people like that and became known as an offensive team, so to speak, like the juggernaut that they became for a while.
Yeah, I will say they looked into him, but as soon as they got him, they knew what they got. The first year, they carried 4 quarterbacks. You do not see that anywhere.
It's usually 3.
Yes. 3. Even nowadays, it's 2.
2. Like, look at the Broncos. At one point this past year, they didn't have any quarterbacks, so a wide receiver had to start at quarterback.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's like
the whole quarterback room got taken out by COVID.
Yeah, so they didn't. Yeah, I mean the NFL, and there was some stuff that happened like that. They had to move like a couple games, but COVID wise, they did pretty good. But that was it. Like, yeah, sometimes it happened to Baltimore, I think too. Like the running back room was just like infected, or like not even infected, really, just like
Close contacts.
Yeah, exposed. So you're done. You can't play until you get like, I think it's 3 negative tests in a row they had to do. Yeah. It was wild how that happened. I mean, they brought fans back for the draft this year. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that place was packed.
But everybody had to be vaccinated. Like, it baffles me, dude. The testing that's done with like the NFL and all the vaccinations, like originally before the vaccine came out, every player, every personnel, everybody associated with an organization had to be tested every single day.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, goddamn, enough of this. Yeah,
it's a little while. And then, like, I always thought it was weird, like, even when they did all that, they still make people wear masks. It's like every single person here has been tested. Who gives a fuck? Like,
they've been tested, and then the rules would get weird. Same thing with basketball. It's like, all right, you guys can't hug or before, shake hands before at the game or after, or hug or exchange jerseys. But here, you can tackle each other the whole time, sweat on each other, spit, like whatever. But hey, don't shake that guy's hand after the game.
I love that one meme where they have people like standing 6 feet apart in the airport, and then the next picture is them all sitting on a plane next to each other. It's like, come on, figure it out, fuckers.
Right, and that's where baseball is kind of being the guinea pig for the vaccination rules right now. If you get your team to the 85% threshold of fully vaccinated, masks are now optional.
Well, Florida, as a state, the governor just he pulled all that shit. You're no longer, as far as the state government is concerned, you're no longer required to wear a mask. However, private businesses can still ask you to do it. But like, I see people on Facebook and stuff. They're like, "Yeah, I went to Target and I didn't have my mask on, and someone gave me shit." And I go, and then they go, "Well, the governor said we didn't need them," and they're like, "Oh, okay." And people are walking through fucking Target like it's no big deal. That being said, though, Florida's been kind of like completely open for 8 months now. And North Florida more than like I'm in South Florida, so I'm in like the
You're in the Democratic part.
I'm in the kind of, I guess. Basically. West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, which we were a little more strict than like country Bible Belt Florida. But we've still been open for months and months and months. Like, no one's giving you shit. You can't get fined for it. The governor pulled that too. You can't get fined. So, you can walk into a business. You're not going to get arrested. It's like,
well, I think that it was kind of like that up here in New York too, where like, there was some bars that got fined, but like they didn't really get like I don't like they got brought to court, but I'm not sure if any of them really had to pay any of it. Like, it's just like up here, I don't know.
Do you know what happened here when that first happened, like last August maybe? They were fining bars because people were like, "Fuck this, we need to keep the place open. The only way to keep it open is to have people here." So the cities and stuff issued them fines, and the people that said "fuck you" and didn't pay them, they were fine, and the people that actually paid the fines and to keep operating, the governor was like, "Yeah, we're not going to enforce any of the fines."
Yeah. Well,
So what happened was if you just said "fuck off," I'm not paying them, you never had to pay them. But if you had paid them, sorry about your luck.
Well, that's exactly
So
it.
it screwed a lot of these small business, like these small bars, out of like 15 grand, 20 grand, and the governor's like, "Yeah, you don't need to."
Yeah, here it was like a $10,000 fine, I think, or something like that. So, like, there was a couple guys I know in New York City that just stayed open, and they did arrest the guy, but he was given like an appearance ticket and a $10,000 fine. But like, they followed the story, and everything got dropped.
Yeah.
And so it's like, are they really gonna haul these people into fucking jail? Like, I mean, because at the time nobody really knew. So it was like we were all staying in our houses and shit. But I mean, once you get vaccinated and herd immunity, so to speak, or whatever, but like businesses needed to. That's the thing, man. They needed to open like crazy, because, and that's what it is now. I guess on the end of this month, I guess Cuomo said that restaurants can open to 100% capacity again. But here's where it gets weird. There's like those little, freaking the fine writing there, right? Like there's like, oh, but masks are still required, and tables have to be 6 feet apart. How can you do 100% capacity?
That's what Florida did last August.
Yeah.
And like to the point where like you're not allowed to sit at the bar, but what they would do is they put cocktail tables at the bar and 2 chairs at the cocktail tables, and that was okay. You you couldn't stand at the bar, but you can have fucking 5 cocktail tables. It was just it's so stupid.
And yeah, again, I'm not a health fucking no, we know, or I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but like it sounded from the beginning, it sounded like they were kind of winging it, so to speak. Again, like these ones that don't make sense to us here, like for instance, again, like we were saying, baseball with the dugout or even basketball, like they have to have masks on when they're sitting next to each other on the the bench, but then they can go play without it on and hugging each other, following each other, and doing everything crazy. So it's like, where's the sense?
I just think I think in that kind of situation, especially with the major league teams, especially with the precautions they've taken, like last year in the NBA, there was all on the Disney campus, right?
The bubble, yeah.
Yeah, the bubble. They're all getting tested all the time. They literally got rid of that one kid for bringing in his hooker girlfriend.
Yeah.
But they're getting tested every day. Like, you don't need to mask up if everyone is.
Well, if you got your positive test and they're letting you in, it's like, that's the thing. Like, why would I have to wear a mask?
Well, if they have a positive test, then they can't play. But everyone else is negative, so they should just be able to run around the campus without it.
Right. Like when what's his name? When Rogan was still doing his podcast during it, people were giving him shit, because they were sitting at the table talking to the people and they weren't 6 feet apart. And he's like, because at the time you didn't really have the testing kit, there were no vaccines, so you had some money to get them. He's like, I fucking buy them every day. He's like, my staff is tested, my guest is tested. As soon as we get negative, we do the podcast, and they're like, well, that's not fair. You're rich. He's like, well, what do you want me to tell you?
I mean, they're $100 a piece. Grow up.
Right.
You can afford it. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, Rogan.
In general life, it's not a big deal. Like, just stay home. Go get tested.
That was right. Exactly. But they're like, how come, there's not more testing for everybody else yet? And it's just like, well, he can afford it this time. It wasn't like, now it's just like you can go get tested anywhere, but they didn't know what, you can just like, you can go get vaccinated, really, and you can get vaccinated at a fucking Walgreens, like, yeah. So, CVS, you don't even got to go to your doctor.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm not doing that, but you guys can do it.
Yeah, I already got one. My second one's a week from tomorrow. That's the one that I guess drops you. I got Pfizer.
I got Moderna. I'm getting mine a week from Friday.
And I guess the second one is essentially like COVID. So like they really put
like 24 to 48 hours. I think it hits you.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to some people. But then again, not for nothing. Other people, it's such a weird thing is that like, it affects everybody different. Like my cousin Pat had it, and outside of, he lost his taste and his smell, and he had a fever for like the first day. But other than that, dude, there was like no real coughing. He was working out every day, everything like that. And this is where it gets so weird. His wife never got it. And they're sleeping in the same bed, It's like, how does that happen? It's just so weird to me. She got tested 3 times, didn't have it. I was like, what the hell, man? That's fucking weird to me. And then that's the thing, like another person, he got COVID, and the dude, like, it was like a month ago, and this dude still coughs like he has it, even though he's negative. It's just like, holy shit, man, what the hell happened there? And again, my cousin got vaccinated. Same thing, about 24 hours. He was down for a little bit. Nothing crazy. But then the other fellow, when he got his, dude, he was down for like 4 days on the weekend. From like Thursday and then just down to like Sunday. It's just like, I don't really understand. Maybe it's obviously genetic makeup and whatnot, but it's just like, so, it affects everybody differently, I guess. A guy I know was in the hospital for, 20 days. Just a healthy 38-year-old guy. It's like, what the hell happened there?
Yeah. Well, I had a friend who, him and his wife and his 2-year-old son all got it. And his wife was on a respirator for 10 days. They're like
there you go.
40.
Yeah.
He just had 2 days of symptoms, and the baby was sick for like 12 hours or something.
Yeah, because that's what happened to another
It
child.
was weird. It's all fucking weird. Anyway, so
I don't know. It's
let's get off this political garbage. You guys want to talk baseball, right? You're talking about the
I'm watching baseball.
The Spankies. Talk about
Yeah,
this.
the only reason I mentioned it, Astros are making their first trip in the Yankee Stadium with fans in the stands. Ever since the whole cheating thing.
Right.
I don't know how familiar Nick is with the whole cheating scandal, but for the layman out there, who doesn't know, a couple of years ago, Houston Astros got involved in a big, scandal, cheating. Stealing signs has been a part of baseball since the start. Mm-hmm. There are rules where it's okay. If you're just watching the catcher signs and you can figure it. And you can figure it out. They're not making it complicated enough for someone who doesn't know to figure it out. That's on them. You're relaying signs from second base to the person at home plate. That's fine. That's all fair game. Way across the line is when you set up a camera in center field, aimed right at the catcher, so you can get the signs, throw it into Excel, figure out exactly what that sign means, and then bang on a fucking trash can. In order to get the sign.
I sent it back to the computer. Right, they had the computer right on the steps on the bottom of the dugout. Right, they had a thing set up there. Yeah. So then, and then they're just ding, 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 banging. The best part is that they outright tried to say they didn't do it, and then you can go back and watch the games. You see the camera, and then you hear ding. You hear like
absolutely.
It's like, and then there's all kinds of stuff across the board. There's that. There's Altuve, who was definitely wearing something under his jersey, shocking for the pitcher. It's like, dude, he hit right there. He knows exactly where Chapman's putting that fucking ball. Get out of here. Like, it's possible. But, and to them, well, the one guy, I forgot who it was. A lot of people called him out, but they're saying that, like, they were like, well, they almost admitting it, but not admitting it. Like, it really was, you really saw they were like scumbags, just. They won their World Series and shit like that, and they beat the Yankees a year before that too in the playoffs. So it's like, they're just
right.
Fucking.
And the year they were doing it, they face off against the Yankees in the ALCS, and the Yankees lose every single game in Houston because they were only able to pull off the scheme in Houston.
Right. It's like, what's the odds of that? So yeah, we're just explaining it, Nick. But the Astros a couple of years ago got caught. They had a camera put in the center field wall, right? So to steal the Yankees catcher signs. So then it was actually relayed back to inside the dugout, but kind of right down the stairs where obviously nobody could see, where they had a station set up where they would fit, like Matt said, they would pop in a program, figure out what it is, and then tell like people in the dugout, or just right outside it, like a security guy or somebody like that, and they would have a trash can there with a bat. And like they knew that, 2 hits on that thing means a fastball's coming. Yeah.
A very Patriots thing to do.
Yeah,
easy.
Well, and that's the thing. Then and went down to it. And the thing is, they got fined. Everything they're all on them, and then they won't even admit that they did it.
Right. That's the big thing. Coaches lost their jobs, GM lost their job, players got nothing.
Well, what's his name? He signed when he was the Red Sox coach for a while, right? And then
Yeah, Cora.
Yeah, Cora, Alex Cora. Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as he got implicated in that, they're like, "Yeah, guy, get out of here."
Yep.
Interesting.
So that's the big thing is the players never got punished. And now this is the first trip into Yankee Stadium since that happened.
It was the Yankees they did it against mainly.
Right. So now, I think you wait until Chapman gets in the game and you throw 101 in the middle of the guy's back and, you're even.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're probably getting ripped up right now. I don't have the sound on, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If that stadium was full.
Dude, all season, people were throwing garbage cans on the field anytime they played them. Yeah. Because, again, it's these guys not.
I kind of remember this now. Yeah.
Well, it's like Matt just said, too. It's like magically, I think they did it. Who was it? The Dodgers they did it to, too, I think, Matt? Where, like, the one guy was a Dodgers pitcher, and he's like, look at the ERA of this guy when we're in, Houston as opposed to when we're in L.A. Same thing that year in the playoffs. Yankees crushed him at Yankee Stadium, but imagine the ERA just went like this for the same pitcher. It's like that's almost virtually impossible.
Huh.
And then there was another thing they used that's actually kind of been proven really, but not. So they had this guy Altuve, this little prick bastard. He's about 4'9".
Fucking jockey.
Yeah, he really is. But like this son of a bitch, you could tell. So he was known to like, if he hit like a good, say they had like a walk off, home run or hit, right? They would run back and then they would like rip his shirt off, right? Well, this time they weren't able to do this because as he hits his walk off home run against Aroldis Chapman, the Yankees reliever, he gets all the way around. He's running towards home plate, and magically he just goes like this and keeps his hands on his things, and he's yelling, "Don't rip my jersey!" But as he's doing that, you can see like this device on like his shoulder with a wire.
Oh shit!
So then it's like they figured out that it was like a buzzer. So if they could hack into the signals again, they could hit, zzz, and he would feel 3 times and know a fucking curveball's coming. So magically, yeah. So it was like his first swing. Aroldis Chapman, one of the best closers in the game, like Matt said, tops over 101. This fucking guy just throws it, and this guy just Donkey Kongs the thing almost out of the fucking stadium. And it's just like, that's impossible. How the fuck did you know that? But then they run back to get the home plate, screaming, "Don't rip my shirt off! Don't rip my shirt off!" And they all get these ALCS champion shirts, right? He goes into the dugout to change for his, or inside the locker room to change his. Everybody's like, "The fuck is this?" That everybody else is good, got the cake going and shit like that, putting the shirts on. He goes into the dugout to change his. Magically, his excuse was he had just got a tattoo and he didn't want people to see it.
And if you look at the stats, this guy hits 310, 315, 320. Last year they cracked down and the guy hits 240.
It's like, it's like
it's a hard game when you don't know what's coming.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Or even like it's almost comparable to when they cracked down all the steroids in baseball. Well, obviously, there's still steroids in baseball, but like some people, like these, like again, the players never got in trouble either, Nick. That's what's fucked up about it. So like, I can always go back to like you could tell who was on steroids and who wasn't. Like Ryan Braun, for instance, right? So he was on the Brewers, Nick, right? And he gets looks a little bigger, and then all of a sudden has this MVP season, right? I mean, just crazy numbers, but then he gets popped. And he gives this big speech about not, steroids and numbers and stuff like this. So here's the thing in baseball, he signs his contract, right? Gets this huge contract, gets popped, and then his numbers are fucking dick. Never MVP again.
Wow.
And it's the same thing here. Like Matt just said, kind of same thing with Altuve. He doesn't know what's coming. If there's a garbage cans right now, they got him at Yankee Stadium. So if he doesn't know what's coming, then it's like, wow, there's this little fucking prick right now, you little douchebag. But again, if he does, they hit him.
Good.
Did they? Oh, it looked like they did. No, they didn't. Oh, they tried to. Looks like.
I'd say hit him in the head, but I don't know if they can aim that low.
Oh, he went super inside, and they didn't catch it. All right. I mean, oh man, that was real close. Oh, they're gonna ding this fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Well, you wait for Chapman. You get that 101 smoke.
Oh God. Well, did you see? Speaking of that, I shared it on Facebook. There, is he fucking Bryce Harper?
Oh yeah.
Took a 97 right in the face, Nick.
I saw that.
But he was all right. It was weird. Like he gave like that.
He should be the next person to fight Conor McGregor.
You know, like that night, he was just like fucking.
If he could take a fastball at 97 miles an hour, he could take a hit from Connor.
And he said, like, straight up, he had no black eyes, no nothing. Well, he didn't yet, and he still hasn't. And he's like, yeah, he's like, the face is fine. It's like, oh shit, man, like, yeah, lucky there.
Yeah, I think it kind of brushes.
Yeah, blew his helmet off.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, like,
bro, that's like, ooh.
Yeah, you got to be careful because again, you go after somebody high like that and you hit him in the head. Baseball really doesn't like it, you know, because the guy hit the next fucking batter too.
Oh, the same guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be gone at the end.
So
of the
then Girardi came out, was just going ape shit. The manager of the Phillies was like, "Yo, what the fuck, guy?"
Yeah.
Well, you know, the big thing for Girardi too is it was an immediate warning. You don't let the other team have a chance to, you know, get their comeuppance. You're immediately, a warning in baseball. You warn both dugouts. So now anyone who gets hit, accident or not, from that point on, the pitcher's out of the game and the manager's thrown out.
Right. So it doesn't escalate essentially.
Right. It eliminates the inside pitch because if you try to pitch inside and you miss and you accidentally hit the guy, all of a sudden your pitcher's gone, your manager's gone.
Like, and this is where a lot of fights come in and whatnot too. That's why back in the day, the umps would start off the game with a warning to both dugouts, meaning if you start shit, you're gone. Because I mean, back in the day, early 2000s, like the Yankees and the Red Sox had a lot of good ones there. You know, you have fucking Pedro throwing down 80-year-old Don Zimmerman.
Damn it.
And a fucking hip toss, dude. Like, guys, and Zimmer was still ready to go, man. 80 years
I
old.
love Zimmer.
You know, but yeah, because like that's the thing. Like these pricks never got nothing, so that's why they've been getting just. And the players themselves, you know, around the league were pissed off because it's like you didn't take the World Series away, you didn't put an asterisk in there. It's like, so what the fuck, man? You stole the World Series, and then everybody was just like, all right, you know, fire the coaches, the general manager, suspend all those guys, but these little cocksuckers. So it's like, you know, baseball has that, you know, kind of way to get even. So it's like, yeah, you got to stand there, bro. And like Matt said, if Chapman's standing there and whoops, that one accidentally slips into your fucking noggin at 101.
Yeah, but isn't it almost like the military where it's like, excuse the metaphor, I'm not trying to compare the baseball to the military, but I am. Isn't it like, you know, you got to listen to your manager and your people who are above you. So when they tell you to do shit on the field, you got to do it. Kind of like, you know, like if a sergeant tells a private, like, I'll go fucking smack this guy. Like, you kind of have to do it. There's like a hierarchy.
Yeah, I mean, you're told to do it, but also baseball, the players, especially some, you know, for instance, I'd say some, you know, catchers are tough, and also some of those pitchers, like, it's kind of like there's unwritten rules. Like, yo, you do that. It's like, you're my pitcher at some, you hit my guy, that pitcher, one of those pitchers, you know, either later in this game or next game is going to ding one of yours. So it creates like this, you know, thing. Because then the pitcher, you know, if I'm the pitcher, if I'm the guy getting hit, and well, that's the thing. If the pitcher on the other team, you know, hits a guy, and I'm on my team now, and I got to stand there with this big fucking stick and be like, oh, am I gonna want this guy's gonna plug, dude? You know, I'm like, yo, dude, don't hit anybody else. You know, I'm coming after I'm coming after my own pitcher. Going, dude, don't hit nobody.
Yeah, right. No, I get it.
Take one of the solar plexus.
But my whole point was that's most likely why they all got fired, other than the players, because
this was player driven.
Was it?
Yes, the managers weren't saying go out and cheat. They were turning a blind eye to it. This was player driven.
So the players put the camera in the fucking center field?
No, but they were the driving force behind it.
Because, I mean, when you got that good that fast, yeah, I mean, the managers and, you know, because they had to walk by the thing to get on the field.
Right.
So
they knew it was going on, and they let it go. That's what they got punished.
Okay.
And the problem is, the reason the players didn't get punished is because MLB offered them immunity right off the bat. Because otherwise,
if they talked,
right off the bat, they wouldn't have said a damn thing, and no one would have got punished.
Huh.
Yeah, because baseball, obviously, baseball is magically known as one of the sports not as kind of maybe open as the NFL, especially, or the NBA to an extent. They like to cover their ass, like they'll look, their appeal. Like when the NFL goes in and, you know, players get, you know, steroids, you know, cheating scandals, everybody this, they go into it and they say, hey, this happened, this is our brand, this is what happened here. But fucking MLB fights it to the death. Obviously, like we know with steroids, you know, the greenies back in the day. Now with this shit, they never want to admit that they had, you know, a black eye, you know, and it's just like, well, no, this was a huge black eye, you fucks.
Crazy. Do. No. Well, that's enough fucking baseball.
Hello, cutie pie.
Moving on. We're at the hour mark. I haven't fallen asleep yet talking about baseball. I'm doing pretty good.
I almost fucking tired.
All right, well let's do a quick. Let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk. I know you guys have been watching that Dark Side of the Ring for the last couple of years. I'm really interested in it. I'd like to hear what you guys thought about it, what you think about the new season, and then we can wrap it up.
All right, so new season starts Thursday. Starts off with Brian Pillman.
Oh yeah.
You can actually go onto the Vice YouTube channel and watch part 1, and then it'll replay part 1 and part 2 brand new on Thursday night. Vice, I think 9:00.
Sure.
I know I don't get Vice in my area, but all of last season they released the newest episode on their YouTube channel the next day. Hopefully they do the same again this year. Otherwise, I'll just find it on a streaming site somewhere. But you don't even have to be a fan of professional wrestling to appreciate the show. It tells a great story from start to bottom, and they cherry pick the ones that are obviously going to give the best stories. The leading off the season this year, it's on Brian Pillman, who's one of the most fascinating people you can ever come across in professional wrestling. He worked everybody. It got to the point where he convinced Eric Bischoff to give him a wink, wink, nudge, nudge release of his contract, but it was actually a legit release of his contract. So he was then able to go negotiate with the WWE and debut 2 weeks later.
What was ultimately the reason he passed away? Was it an overdose or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of these WWF guys from like the 90s all had
A lot of them
major addiction issues and or steroids and.
Well, because you got to remember, if you're talking about Pillman, he started playing that angle. He had like a gun on TV. As an angle.
Really?
Yeah, that was when he was all crazy. Like he had those crazy eyes, and he got, I think was it Vince's house or Stone Cold's or somebody?
No, it was Pillman's house and Stone Cold.
So the screen goes black, and like you hear Pillman's got a gun, and he actually showed like a gun, and the screen went black. So it was like during really one of the Attitude Era, and that's the thing. Like, he's playing. I guess he's playing his part, but actually, off camera, he was real fucked up too. Like we all know that happens to all those, especially in that time. Those guys. That's why they created the wellness policy. So, through the first couple seasons.
Wait a minute. What's the wellness policy
in WWE?
Well, you just brought it up. So yeah, whatever the fuck you're talking about. What's the?
Well, there's the wellness policy where like, if they do get tested for stuff, and if you break it, you are suspended. And like same kind of thing, like they have certain things where it's for the past people too. Like if you're a past wrestler who has a substance abuse problem or anything like that, they will get you help through the wellness program. Same kind of thing here. That's why a lot of these guys recently, Cestaro, over the past couple of years, those kind of guys got cut because they kept breaking it. Paige, but she actually went into the wellness program and came back out, clean. But some people didn't do it. That happened to Eddie Bravo, Eddie Guerrero too. Like they got him help, before he passed away a heart attack. So it was like these certain things. But again, if you were breaking it, you would be suspended. So like then they created that because a lot of these guys did have like the addictions. The same thing. If you remember the guy, he passed away too, Umaga. Like from back in, from like the early 2000s. Before that, he was one of the head shrinkers. He's, Rikishi's cousin or brother. I'm sorry. And like that's the thing. Like he just couldn't get clean, and they helped him. And then again, he was back on, really prescription pills is what it was. And that's what he died of in his sleep. Like these, they get these weird combinations because as you guys well know, it's a goddamn hard lifestyle. They're always, traveling, city to city. Then you got to work out. You probably can't sleep very well because you're so fucking beat up. So it's like, take these pills.
Yeah,
but
that's where the title comes in, Dark Side of the Ring. We watch Mondays, Fridays, Sundays. all you're seeing is that 2 hours they put on the TV. You're not seeing the grind that they have to put into it.
And I mean, there's a lot of episodes that went back into that where they did a Chris Benoit one that was pretty crazy. They did a couple ones where it was like, whoa, man, you see this stuff and it's just like, oh God, that Jake the Snake one. They have a lot of ones that are good, and it really brings you into that again dark side of the ring, as Matt said. And like this season looks like it's interesting. We talked about it a little bit before, like some things I didn't even really know about the North Korea incident. I don't even know what that is really. But it looks kind of crazy there.
Yeah, it was a tour of North Korea for WCW. They drew 193,000 fans to one show, if you believe it. It's North Korea, so you can never know.
Yeah.
But it's all the stuff that went into, flying into North Korea, and as soon as you land, you have to turn in your passports.
Yeah,
You've got armed guard by your side the entire time you're in the country. It should be interesting to watch. The one I'm really looking forward to is I don't know if anyone else has seen the David Arquette documentary. You Can't Kill David Arquette. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. It kind of documents, 90 or early 2000, he wins the WCW.
He won the belt. Yeah.
He wins the WCW World Title. The same belt Ric Flair won 16 times is owned by David Arquette. So he's caught shit from wrestling fans. You ruined the business. You did all this.
He made that movie, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember the movie he made.
Yep. So him winning the title was to promote the movie.
Oh,
so he's heard for 20 years how much he killed the business, how much WCW went in the tank after he won the title. So he kind of used that as fuel about 5 years ago, where he made a comeback on the indie scene. So he's coming in. Yeah. So he's coming in. He's doing hardcore.
It's like really like bloody, right?
Yeah. And there was one where he took
Courtney Cox's husband.
Yes.
The dude from Dewey.
He almost died. Yeah, he almost died. He took a fluorescent light bulb to the head, and then the guy who hit him went to put him into a sleeper, and the jagged edge of the went straight into his neck. Now, this motherfucker just throws his hand over here. He actually gets up. He walks out of the ring. He walks halfway down the aisle, turns around, comes back, finishes the match, and then walks back out again.
Because is this one?
David Arquette.
Is this one that it's like him and like another guy too, like the guy from Jersey or something like that? That's supposed to be like one of the craziest dudes, I think.
Yes. Yeah. That's what the show, the episode is going to be on, the promotion that he was wrestling.
Because dude, the one episode was crazy, Nick. It was fucking New Jack.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, from ECW, and like they talk about when he almost they essentially killed that guy in the ring, right? The guy that was
mass transit.
Yeah, he was a 17-year-old kid that lied and fucking literally beat him to death.
Really?
Yeah, he damn near killed him.
Yeah, and again, there's a 17-year-old kid but he was huge. He was like 400 pounds, but he lied and said he was like a professional wrestler. So that New Jack would admit he would just straight up do like crack before matches.
Shit.
And if he didn't like it, he would just beat the living shit out of you.
New Jack's a scary guy.
I feel like Dark Side of the Ring is something that I've wanted to watch for so long. For some reason, I just haven't. And it's like one thing in the last 4 years that I'm excited about. So it's almost like I don't want to watch it and then be like, oh, there's no more of these. This weird thing. But it's almost like I enjoy you guys talking about it because you get so fired up about the different episodes where I'm like, oh man, let's you guys keep hyping it up.
Well, because even the one fella, he admitted that he was high as shit. And he had beef with this guy in real life, and he threw him off the top of the thing.
God damn!
Another guy he almost killed.
Yeah. Just look up, even if you don't want to go through the Dark Side of the Ring. Just look up New Jack scaffold match, and you'll see.
He admits,
holy shit!
He admit he didn't fuck up. He actually did it on purpose, try to really hurt and kill the guy.
Yeah.
It's just they get real dark like that. Obviously, we know Benoit's. So it's just it's wild, and you have and they play they interview a lot of the real wrestlers and stuff like that. And they freaking, play the recordings from at the time and whatnot. It's really interesting to see, you know, how they all go. The one pretty crazy one was the wrestler from back in the 80s, early 90s, Dino Bravo.
Oh yeah.
They tell his story of like he started, you know, in Canada and he was really big. He was like the champion. And then he came to WWF at the time. And, you know, he had just like kind of a, you know, all right career, is known, but then really didn't, you know, win like the title or anything like that. But he's still got to, you know, provide for his family and stuff like that after he's cut by WWE. So he goes back to Canada and just gets in with the mob, you know, in Canada.
It's an interesting twist.
Yeah. And they just find him one day they find him just sitting in his chair at his house, his recliner, just fucking shots all over him, dude. Just pop, just dead.
12 bullets.
And they
12
still
bullets
trying to
between
figure
his
out,
chest and his head.
you know, what happened, who did it. Like everybody thinks it was like he was ripping off the mob and stuff because he got like, I guess it was like the elite, you know, really old school shit, like, you know, the legal cigarette trade, you know, bringing across the United States, everything like that. And he was skimming, I guess they assume. So like, yeah, they fucking killed him, but you don't know that, you know. So it's really, really intriguing to. It's a lot of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Same thing with Gino Hernandez.
That was crazy. I didn't even know who he was.
Right. You know, that's the thing. You know, I consider myself a big wrestling fan. I find stuff that I've never heard about.
Yeah.
So these guys do their research. That's one thing I like about a show like that. You know, you get your research and you tell me something I don't already know. You're good in my books.
Well, what about like it's the first episode ever, right? When what's his name got stabbed in Mexico?
Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody. You know, Tony Adley, and there's different stories there. I mean, that guy was huge, you know, and like it was in Mexico, and this guy stabbed him in the locker room. He got away with it. You know, Tony Atlas is there, and you're like covering the guy, and he ends up dying. But it's like, yeah, this wrestling promoter stabbed him right there in the shower in Mexico, and just kind of, you know, nothing was done about it.
Yeah.
All over, you know, money and stuff like this. But it's wild.
That's usually the problem.
Like, and it was one of those, you know, smaller independent organizations in Mexico. So it's like, you know, real
Puerto Rico, actually.
Puerto Rico, there you go. Yeah, and it's just like, ooh, man, it's like same thing we were just talking about in North Korea, man. Like, you land somewhere and they confiscate your passport. It's like, yeah, that's not a spot I'm going. You know,
money must have been good.
Yeah, I mean, back then, but that's all these guys knew. You know, was just, you know, they had he was a really known guy. Like he was crazy. You know, they say too. Like he's a guy. There's a video out there too, Nick. Like he wrestled Lex Luger, and he's for some reason just hated Lex Luger, so he just didn't sell anything. I mean, he's obviously way bigger than Lex Luger, so he just didn't sell anything. He just, you know, Lex Luger would punch him in the face, and you just like stand there. So like, and then yeah, he ended up getting stabbed.
Well, you know, disrespect Lex Luger. That's what happens. Oh, fuck him.
Man, that dude, he really went downhill.
Oh, the saddest thing was when we were in Albany for my brother's show, and he's there in a fucking wheelchair.
I'm like, this is Lex Luger?
He's like, oh my
his legs were like this big.
God. Cry.
That's what he gets for killing Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah. Another OD.
Shots fired.
Another OD though. I mean, yeah, like we just talked about.
What are you talking about? You killed Miss Elizabeth?
Yeah, he gave her
Yeah, they were together, and she, you know, she OD'd at his house, bro.
Yeah. It's a real Heath Ledger, you know, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's fucked. Yeah, that was fucked up.
Well, again, Michael Jai White says that Heath Ledger was not depressed, and he was not fully encompassed in the Joker, and that's not why he died. If you watch it, there's an interview that he does. I think it's with Vice, actually, because they asked him about it. They're like, oh, you did that movie with him. Was he like fucked up on? He's like, no. He would hang out and we would joke around, and then as soon as they would call action, he'd get into character. Like he wasn't method acting at all. Like he just. And I'm like, well, I believe Michael Jai White because he's legit.
Yeah, I mean, like that could have obviously just like a lot of these, like we said, the guy Umaga, they mix these things that you're not supposed to do just to sleep or just, you know, to relax or just to do this for pain.
Like Michael Jackson, same thing with him. He had he's on sleeping pills and uppers. Yeah. You mix them and it happens, bro.
That's what happens. You go down like that because you don't know. Like if you're mixing like painkillers and then like opiates and stuff like this, it's like, you know, your breathing slows and it just, you know, you never fucking get it back. which sucks, man. Because again, like it wasn't like, and his wasn't like anything like say like a Farley or a Belushi or anything like that. You know, it was like
Yeah, well, he wasn't off the deep end like drug addict for.
was it? Yeah, he wasn't injecting fucking mainline and 8 balls. Speedball.
That's what they call him. I don't know, man.
Yeah, speedball. Which is again like it's the same kind of scenario though, right? It's a mix of heroin and cocaine, so it's like that's an upper and a downer. Like, what do you? Your body's just gonna fucking shut off.
Dude, I drink I'll drink a coffee and then smoke weed and I feel like I'm gonna die. So I'm not I'm not getting anything stronger than either of those things.
Just caffeine and just fucking.
Oh man, I can't even do it. I can't even take like pre-workout because like all day I'll just be like,
Dude, I can't. No, I used to do that, but I had to stop, dude. Like fucking, because you don't know how much of it. They tell you the dose, and then it's just like I got flushed, like my face would be red, but then you'd feel tingly, and you're like fucking this, and it's like, dude, I don't want to work out like this. This isn't.
I just feel nauseous if I take anything other. If I drink anything more than like maybe 2 cups of coffee, I just feel nauseous, and it's like it's hard to get through the day.
Well, you gotta remember back before they changed the Four Locos. That shit was like 13% with milligrams or grams of cocaine in it, and then these crazy assholes were mixing it with vodka and like dying. It's like, yeah, dude, that's pretty straightforward there.
It's right on the label.
Yeah, that ain't the best idea. You fucking idiots.
And again, 4 years ago, people were eating Tide Pods. So
Yeah.
3 people ate Tide Pods. Like
that's still 3 too many.
Well, it's like what did the?
I mean, they do look like candy. I mean,
the saying there? Just remove all the warning labels and see what happens.
Oh, that's like here's a transition to Invincible, I guess. Not that we need to really get into it, but it's kind of the same thing. Like, yeah. What was the show I was watching? It's all about like that survival of the fittest. I think it was. You're not there yet, so I don't want to spoil it. But Omni-Man has that conversation with his kid. Like, it's survival of the fittest. You Earthlings aren't the fittest. So, sorry. These people don't mean shit. Like, take the warning labels off, and you'll all be dead. Like he said something along those lines, and it's true, bro. Like, how many fucking paint buckets have you seen that says don't let your kids swim in the paint bucket? Like, obviously,
so many. Yeah.
Like a kid can't read that. So who are you telling?
Don't ingest it. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, this coffee. Remember that lady? This coffee's hot. I'm gonna sue McDonald's for.
Oh yeah.
That was all bad PR. That was the PR firm of McDonald's coming in. The problem with the McDonald's lady is she got served coffee at 220 degrees.
Oh.
Yes. So McDonald's was actually at fault there. They were serving coffee that would scald you if you spill it on yourself.
Dude, some places are still like that. You ever get a fucking Dunkin' Donuts coffee? Oh.
I don't drink the shit.
It's like, oh God.
I cannot drink anything that Dunkin' Donuts has.
Like a while ago, but yeah.
Like I've gone there every now and then. There's a coffee shop. Well, luckily there's like a drive-through coffee shop like 2 blocks from the Dunkin' that's near my house. So if I need coffee, I go there and they give the dog a treat. Like, it's real cool.
Oh, that's cool.
But Dunkin' Donuts, man, like, do you want cream and sugar? I'm like, yes, I would like a very little cream and sugar. And then the bottom of the fucking cup is this much sugar. I'm like, I can't drink this, dude. This is it's like a bad milkshake. Like, it's all sugar. I might as well fucking snort a bag of sugar because it's so gross. I can't.
Dude, some people drink it like that though. It's like
gross, John. It's more sugar than a fucking Twix bar.
Dude, I only drink coffee black. So,
well, I almost have to. Like, if I went to Dunkin' Donuts, I don't. But my other thing is, I don't drink hot coffee. I have like my teeth are sensitive, so
yeah.
I always get iced. So it turns into like if I order from Dunkin' Donuts, it turns into like a fucking
like a frappe
box of sugar. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, no, I'd throw it out.
Fuck. Well, there's not. I mean, then you go to the actual real coffee shops, and you can tell the difference between a real bean and like if you get an espresso or opposed to like even a Starbucks. There are there's like 4 new ones that opened up in Troy, dude. It's just like, what the fuck, man.
Starbucks across the street from Starbucks. There's a ton of them here.
No, there's new individual like artisan coffee shops.
Oh God.
Yeah, Jacob and Alejandro's.
Cool. I don't know. I don't. It is what it is, but like I can't do Dunkin' at all. And none of their. You ask them to toast a fucking bagel, and it's they give it to you ice cold, and it's like, what the fuck? You gotta tell them to toast it 3 times. Give me a triple toasted bagel, you fuck.
I want a triple toasted.
Well,
Well, it's
like,
just
oh my God, you gotta triple toast it, and you gotta put it in 3 times. And
it's like Chrissy D's story there. You know, I don't know if you heard that one. He's like, I need a coffee, black. The lady's like, what the fuck you talking about? Like, he's like, I need a coffee, black. What the fuck y'all motherfuckers trying to say to me? I need a coffee, black. They were in like Georgia or something, and she's like they came over, and the manager is just like, what did you say? She's like, so you mean a coffee without cream and sugar? And he's like, yeah, a coffee, black.
Yeah, black coffee, dumb.
Yeah,
fuck.
black coffee, right? Like, yeah, he's telling Santino that. Santino's like, who the fuck would take that as racist? There's a like, you know, the Stefano's like, yeah, they threw the coffee right at us. These iced coffees. He's like, there's your black. It's like, okay. How far are we taking this now?
Yeah, I don't have that issue here. So it's like no sugar. Oh, a little bit of sugar.
A little bit of sugar.
Oh, no sugar. Oh, and it's almost like you hear the people that work there like, you definitely don't want to drink this without sugar, bro. Like we got to put some sugar in it.
Trust me, brother.
Trust me, it tastes
Doing you a
like
solid here.
it's like gasoline. Yeah, it tastes like toilet water.
Well, it's like all the different shit you can get too, like the different drinks, like Starbucks, like you go to there, like you get your Americanos, but then also, you know, you get your red eye, and your red eye fucking that'll do something to you, Nick.
I can't, dude. I don't like the feeling that I get with caffeine or anything like that. I get shaky.
So a red eye,
I also have like an oral fixation. So like if I brew a pot of coffee, I drink a pot of coffee.
same thing with me. Like I
So
don't know if you noticed, like I crushed the water in 2 Gatorades since we've been sitting here. You know, I just have to always
I've
be drinking.
also crushed water into Gatorades.
I just again, like if I have it here, I'm just gonna drink it.
That's right.
You know, so that's like, yeah, well, like again, like say, like again at Starbucks, same kind of thing. Like I take it to the extreme. Like I get if I'm tired, or if you know you're one of those, like when you were lifting heavy, say me and my cousin, like you go and you get a red eye, and it's generally from like when people are flying for business or whatever. So it's an Americano, which is an espresso, and then they fill that up. Like you can get a 16-ounce espresso, and then you get ad shots with it. Ad shots of espresso.
Yeah, that's what I get at the coffee shop. I get a cinnamon swirl iced coffee with a shot of espresso.
Yeah, like the one time
Dog biscuit.
my cousin was doing a CrossFit competition, and he had to squat. So me and his then girlfriend had to go over to Starbucks and get him a fucking Americano with 2 ad shots, which was essentially like 4 espressos, and they almost didn't make it. They're like, dude, we don't know if we can give this to you. Like, just do cocaine.
Yeah. Gross.
At that point.
All right. Well, scratch that. Hey, we're doing good. I'm really happy to say that in an hour and 23 minutes we have not mentioned Star Wars.
Oh,
We did it. Yes. May the Force fuck off. But we have to acknowledge it for the 2 viewers. We appreciate both of you. You're paying all our bills.
there you go.
So I don't know. We got 7 minutes to talk about Star
Hey, little
Wars.
buddy, how you doing in here right now?
We got 7 minutes to talk about Star Wars. So let's
Gotta rip that band-aid off now. You'll think later.
I mean, it is a legendary franchise, you know.
amazing.
But yeah, I used to dig it, but you know, I've had a couple movies that fell off and everything like that, so kind of you know let it down there. My niece Mackenzie is into it, so that's why I had to take her to the last one, you know, at the theaters. And I thought it was like, you know, she liked it, but I was just, you know, then again she's 11, so like me, I was just like, oh, this is not really for me anymore. This is like just ugh.
The last one was such a mess that it kind of soured me on it.
Yeah, same. But you know, Ray's sitting there just, you know, force lightning a ship. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
It just like, and even like,
Oh, you're the granddaughter of Palpatine was fucking like in Revenge of the Sith? Like, is that what you're trying to tell me? Like, there's no mention of his actual kid? So
It's good.
we have to have a spinoff now that's in the middle of fucking like Empire Strikes Back, where he has like a 20-year-old daughter or something. It's out there banging Jedi. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's again, they kind of lost there.
The Mandalorian for me has saved it because
True.
it's like that's more my type, like where they actually tell a fucking story and it's not all like camp and cheese. You know? And then of course we got Billy Burr. Billy Burr is a reoccurring character.
Love that old Billy Freckles.
Oh, Billy Freckles. But yeah, actually that's really like I've watched everything Star Wars. I just can't get into it for some I will fight for Captain America, the first Avenger, like we did last week, because I love that stuff. And then if someone came out here and said like, well, Star Wars is terrible, I'm just like, yeah, you're probably right. I'm not gonna die. I'm not dying on that hill, but I'll talk about it. But I enjoy the lore, and I think what the big issue is like at least the last 6 movies. Well, that's not true because there's been like 10 since the original.
Yeah, right. There's like Rogue One and shit.
Right, but it's like all the main movies are like mostly miss. Some hit. Rogue One was good. Solo was pretty bad, but it had some interesting scenes. But then you watch like the cartoons, or you play like the Jedi Order game that has like the kid from Gotham that played the Joker, and like the side stuff is amazing.
Right.
Like the Clone Wars and like all these different little cartoons that they've come out with, they're all incredible and the stories are great. And then it's like, oh, but the main shit is fucking lame. So I'm like, I'm on this weird, like, give me more of that. Give me more of the long form. I think that maybe that's what I'm starting to enjoy.
Yeah, that's the difference. You've got 15, 20 episodes to tell a story as opposed to an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours and 20.
Well, if anyone tells me like, oh, the Mandalorian's whack, I'm like, well, watch it. Like, it's fucking Kurosawa. It's like a Star Wars Kurosawa, and it's 10 episodes a season, 8 whatever it is, 8 episodes. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting. Like, and there's character development, and there's a world building, and it's all stuff that the new big movies have skipped out on. I think it's because they had a plan, like Favreau and whoever had a plan, and in the movies they're just like, oh, we're just gonna lightsaber. We got to put a lightsaber in this scene. We'll just say it's like her uncle's or something. I don't know. Whatever. People don't care. Make the things go pew 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 pew. People like it. So I don't know. I guess maybe I enjoy the long form Star Wars stuff. I don't really like the movies. Maybe the original 2.
Yeah.
That I was kind of a coin toss even when we were kids. Yeah. So that's my opinion on that. And that's my pitch for a Mortal Kombat HBO Max series, because it needs to be long form because there's enough characters and shit like that. So I'm gonna die on that. I'll die on that hill.
Excuse me.
Mortal Kombat could be like a galaxy not that far away. And they could be like timed together. No? All right. Well,
just make sure you keep Cole Young out of the series.
God, can he? They need to pull a Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Johnny
retcon the whole thing.
No. They need to do what they did in Mortal Kombat Annihilation with Johnny Cage.
Where snap his neck in the first 3 minutes.
Where the opening scene is Shao Kahn is like, "You will die." He's like, "I won't die." Oh, they killed Johnny. Well, just do it with Cole Young. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I'm gonna fight for you, Lou. Sorry. Now it's a revenge story.
Now in the second movie, Sub-Zero's coming back as Noob Saibot, right?
I hope so. Yep. And they'll probably do something. I wrote the whole fucking second movie in my head watching it in the theater. I'm like, Shang Tsung's gonna turn into Kung Lao. He's gonna trick him that he's actually the real Kung Lao. He wasn't actually killed. He's gonna infiltrate the Earth Warriors. He's gonna put a beat down on Liu Kang. Goro's gonna be alive somehow. Sub-Zero's gonna come back and noob Saibot, but they're gonna find the other Sub-Zero, his younger brother, and they're gonna like fight him. And they'll be like, he's gonna be like, "No, it's not me." And Scorpion's gonna come back and be like, "Wait, it's not you." And he's like, "No, I told you, it's not me." It's gonna be real fucking corny, and then they're gonna kill like another 10 people. Cool. Katana's gonna come in and fucking.
That's what you sign on for.
Oh yeah, he's on. The guy who plays Sub-Zero signed on for 4 more movies.
No, what I mean is that's the type of thing you sign on for when you go to watch a movie like that.
Yeah, dude. It's all there are multiple realities. Bring him back, kill him again. Round 2. Cut his head off. Who gives a fuck? Well, that's my take. No one cares about Mortal Kombat on Star Wars Day, so. So you guys got your sports episode. I know you've been waiting for it. So you're welcome. What's that?
Said first of many.
Oh,
You just don't know yet.
I gotta do this more. I better start watching sports.
I think that's the goal.
Son of a bitch.
Let's get you to watch 4 football games this year.
I watched 4.
Super Bowl doesn't count.
I watched 3 last year. Well, gentlemen, let's end the episode. See you guys Monday, possibly Tuesday. Doesn't matter. The chop up. We had a total of 3 live viewers.
There we go.
I'm gonna sit outside and smoke a cigar if you guys want to chop it up.
All right, guys. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna take off.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are